Namaste, Adab. I have a very special guest today. I have Safa Ahmad. She is an Indo-American activist, freelance writer. She is in USA. Safa, thank you so much for giving us time, and we will be talking various aspects. It is always very youthful and a very engaging thing to talk to a young fellow, because we also get a lot of new information. We also get energized because you have new ideas. So first of all, my congratulations for being there. So I just want to understand one thing, because the there is a lot of turbulence in the entire world. The political thing of any country, there is a lot of things is going on. Somehow, at this point of time, when I'm talking to you, the we feel that the general relations between the two countries, I will not say is bad, but it is not so good. But the fact remains that India and America are interdependent on each other, because a lot of things we are depending on America, a lot of things America is depending on that. So you feel this is a matter of time that when these small things which is happening will be ironed out and things will be smooth as it should be, or it is going to take some more time, because there are other problems. There are global problems. Unemployment is a problem. Rising price is a problem. I mean, all these problems are there. So
Mhm.
how you rate this, whatever is happening between US and India, which have been on a very good terms? uh, is there everything okay, or you think there is a scope of improvement?
Yeah,
Safa, please.
first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here and talking to you and to your audience. I'll start by saying that yes, while the US-India relationship has been a long one and a very fruitful one, we are living in the sort of unprecedented time period in which we're seeing things very rapidly deteriorate, not just on the foreign policy scale, but also domestically. I mean, if you look at both countries, the things that were happening in India 10 years ago with regards to the erosion of democratic norms and principles, the protection of civil society, the protection of media, this overall focus on the well-being of the common individual is very drastically dropped. And now you're seeing the same thing happening in the United States, where it's become a very nationalistic focus, especially if you're looking at the government level and at the level of their supporters. So, as you touched upon, the relationship has been strained in a lot of ways, especially when you look at topics like the H-1B debate. I mean, as an Indian American, not just as an Indian American Muslim, but as an Indian American, I'm able to notice that the disdain for Indians in the United States is becoming more apparent from the supporters of the government. And that's a problem because, this doesn't just affect one community or the other, it affects all individuals who are either Indian or who are perceived to be Indian, regardless of whether they're on a visa or not. And I think that when you look at problems like that, another thing to talk about is the deportation crisis. I mean, in the United States, you're seeing these roundups of immigrants. Of course, most of it through ICE, but then you also have these deportations of people who are Indian. And you saw the inhumane treatment of these people, like people put in handcuffs, people flown all the way back to India with, little regard for their basic human rights. And these are problems that I think shook a lot of people because, like, when did you ever expect to see that happening between the United States and India, right? I mean, um, the Indian American diaspora is one of the most wealthy, and I would say to a degree, like where there are Indian Americans who are in the government, the current government, and the previous one. So it's been shocking on a lot of levels, but I think this brings us back to the topic of empathy. You asked, like, is this problem something that can be ironed out in the future if there's some time that we'll need in order to sort out other problems in order to get there? You mentioned things like the economy, and other issues that are kind of standing in the way of that. I would agree. I think that there is a lot of work to do with regards to the way people view these issues. I don't think it's just an issue of the economy or just an issue of immigration. I think at the core, these are human rights issues. And I think that framing is very important because it requires a degree of empathy. When you look at India and Assam, deportations of Muslims, and you look in the United States at ICE and the roundups of undocumented immigrants and also immigrants with documentation, with visas, the absolute disregard for international law and for the law of the land in general, these types of things require a level of empathy in order to engage with properly. So if you care about immigration, you do care about the rights of the people who are immigrating, right? If you care about the economy, you should care about the people who are pushed to the margins by economic decisions like tariffs. So I do believe that in order to further these discussions, we need to be honest about how human rights are being impacted first and foremost.
Thank you. So I just want to understand one more thing, because in India, there, I mean, if I rate one, two, three, four, five problems, I will say unemployment is also is a challenge which an average Indian youth is facing today. Now, is that thing real in America also? Because I understand you also, I mean, the America is also facing a very unemployment. I mean, there is a the problem of unemployment with the youth of America today. Is it real? Because I want to understand that also.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you go, just you don't even need to look at articles on the economy in the United States. Just log on to X, or formerly known as Twitter, and you'll see people saying, like, I'll apply 6 to 60, 70, 80, 100 different jobs and not hear back. That's the state of the economy today. We're in a very clear recession. The prices of basic necessities are going up. And I do think that in situations like this, it does tend to be a breeding ground for these more nationalistic ideologies. People think that, oh, in order to fix the economy, all we need to do is get rid of these immigrants who are taking our jobs. And as you and I both know, and as I'm sure your audience knows, that's never the solution. So yes, the economy is a massive problem, but targeting immigrants, regardless of their background, is not the way to fix it.
Correct. And so we must also appreciate that today it is a global village, and we
Mhm.
are, I mean, it's going to be a seamless thing, because we are interdependent. Not only I'm talking of America in general. Now, one more thing which generally people don't discuss, uh, drug is a real issue today because it is in India. Is it a real issue in America also? Because drug is a, well, people don't want to talk. People feel that it will not happen in my house, it will happen in neighbor's house, but it is a real issue. And somehow, you being an activist on this, do you feel that this is an issue which is to be addressed uh, without any reservations? And we must understand that this is a problem which we are facing as a society. I would just want to understand the drug problem. If America is facing, we are facing this problem.
I think it's a bit difficult for me to comment on that because I am an activist that is mostly focused on the issues of the diaspora, about forms of religious nationalism. So I think I'll pass on that question. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
fair enough. Fair enough. Now, one more thing, because this is something which I always feel, that be it a developed country, be it a underdeveloped country, or a poor country, woman by category
Mhm.
is a deprived thing, because they're, I mean, if you take the history, if you see the representation, we might say that America is a very developed country, but we have representation. India has one of the finest prime ministers we had as Indira Gandhi. Our current president is a woman. Having said that, but women as a whole in the entire world, do you feel they get the fair treatment? As a, we call it Adhi Abadi, or we call it the half of the universe. Do you feel they are getting a fair treatment anywhere in the world?
I think yesterday, just yesterday, when I was scrolling, doom scrolling as the young people do on X, I came across multiple videos of women being subjected to either violence or harassment. And this was true for India, the United States, France, Germany. I mean, as you mentioned, this is a global problem. And I think it is for countries that have for so long posed as progressive in this regard, we need to take a step back and reflect and see how religious nationalism is also informing the treatment of women in the United States. Because if you look at issues like abortion laws, which is a hot topic in the United States right now, all of that is based on this white Christian nationalist understanding of abortion. Now, if you look at freedom of religion laws in the United States, I'm a Muslim, and if there's like, for example, a Jewish person, we have different laws within our religious codes surrounding abortion. And for one standard to be imposed, I'm not even talking about at the scientific level, that's a whole other conversation. I mean, obviously, there are so many reasons why someone might have this like medical necessity, but instead we're kind of beholden to the whims of a religious nationalistic government. I think that is true for so many countries across the world, including in India. And so if you look at the conversations surrounding women's rights, I think it becomes very important to separate ideology from material reality. What is the material reality of women around the world? The reality is that women are not safe in general. They are not safe from harassment. They're not safe from the policing of what they do, what they wear, what type of medical treatment they receive. And there's a need for global solidarity between women and additionally from men as well who care about these issues. Like in the end, you cannot address authoritarianism without tackling all elements of it. And one element of authoritarianism is suppression of women. That also deserves equal consideration.
Yes, and Safa, I mean, to be honest with you, I still feel the man is to be educated more because, as you rightly said, what to wear, what to eat, how to behave, this is their will. I mean, having said that, I will always say this is always decided by the man, that what she should wear, as a daughter, I will decide that what my daughter will wear. As a husband, I will decide what my wife should wear. I mean, this is a reality which people
Mhm.
may not agree, but this is a reality. Now, one more thing about the last question, I would like to understand. uh, the Indian diaspora in US, we don't have anything like that in India because the number of people from US to India is very little.
Mhm.
Our Indian community is there, is in large number. Uh, they are doing well. They are part of the US economy. They are contributing it there. Do you feel the interaction between the Indian diaspora and the Indian per se is required more? Because today what is happening, there is no dialogue between, the dialogue is between the leaders. The dialogue across between the Indian diaspora and the average Indian is not there. Do you feel that that will improve a lot of things?
It's interesting. I've noticed that there's also, I mean, not just noticed, this is a reality that the Indian diaspora itself is very much so divided along lines of things like ideology, religion. If you're following the news in the United States, you'll see several cases where there are bills being passed, for example, to outlaw caste-based discrimination that gets some people coming out in fierce opposition and others coming out in fierce support, right? So I mean, for me, it is also a priority for the Indian diaspora to form community amongst ourselves and to be able to call out religious nationalistic elements within the diaspora, the types of people who are willing to cozy up to actors who want to harm all of us. There is this, what I've noticed is this desire for proximity to power and to whiteness, which is the structure of power in the United States. And that's a very dangerous game to play. You'll see some actors within the Indian diaspora playing this game of wedge politics, in which they'll try to paint themselves as like, we are the good brown model minority, we're the good Indians. And then on the other hand, they'll be like, well, these are the Muslims, these are the Sikhs, these are the Dalits. They're not the good brown members of the Indian diaspora. So there's that level of division going on, and that absolutely cannot continue, because when you look at the rising anti-Indian bigotry, it's not separating based on necessarily, it's not separating based on like who is what type of Indian or what is their religion. In some cases that is the case, but like, generally speaking, it's a blanket brush painting all Indians as the same. So there's the need for dialogue between the diaspora communities to be like, hey, we're all facing the same threat. And it's not internal, it's 100% external. So we need to be aligned on those terms. And I do agree that there is the need for our conversations to be influenced by conversations with the people back home, our loved ones, families, but also civil society leaders. Like, what is important for us to do is to make sure that if there are issues that everyday Indians are facing, we have a position of privilege here in the diaspora, right? My voice carries weight in spaces like the halls of Congress with my US representatives. I have a moral obligation then to listen to what the people of India are saying and be like, hey, how can I take these issues forward? This is true for any immigrant community. Any immigrant community will go and take the issues from their homeland that they love and bring it to the halls of Congress, bring it to the US government and be like, hey, how can we support these people who need it? And again, here it becomes important once more to distinguish between what are religious nationalists or just nationalistic elements saying and what is the material reality on the ground. And once you get to the core of that, once you get to the truth of that, I believe it is a responsibility for the Indian diaspora to be very firm and very clear in speaking up for the rights of those everyday Indians.
Okay. Thanks so much, Safa, and it was a pleasure talking to you. In the next episode, whenever we plan it, I would like to understand the political system of USA, because you have a Congress, then you have a Senate, then you have a representative, then you have elections in 2 years, then 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
People, I mean, let us discuss that. Let us understand what is happening there.
Sure.
And if you want, I mean, as far as the Indian election system is concerned, I would try to make you understand how we work here. So
Sure.
it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Safa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. Happy to come back anytime.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye.